So, once again, lockstep and key. Nancy Pelosi gives a speech. And I want you guys, I'm going to play the audio. I'm going to play the full audio. It is from CNN. I'm going to play the audio, the full audio, unedited, unscripted. And I want you to listen to what Nancy Pelosi says when it pertains to going forward with impeachment against Donald Trump. She brings up nothing more than these same old speeches, looking for applauses, and you can tell in the crowd as you listen to the crowd is people are getting tired of Nancy Pelosi. They're getting tired of the establishment. I told you guys that this was an inevitability that was coming, and now you're starting to see it. And I'm happy that people are starting to wake up to the bullshit and the BS. CNN has tried their best today to try to once again do this remaining neutral coverage, not calling it for what it is, not saying, that Nancy Pelosi, Jerry Nadler, and several others in Congress have dropped the ball when it comes and pertains to this. Okay, it's time that you get off your ass and do your job. Enough's enough. Robert Mueller basically put it in your hands and said, let's go. All right. And I want you to pay attention that she brings up about that the American people need more compelling evidence. What more compelling evidence do we need? What are you looking for? We know that in the Senate, a majority of the Senate will not move forward with impeachment. We don't need a majority of the Senate. What we need is public opinion, and we need just a few Republicans, and this is going to damage Trump in 2020. Okay, because the Republican Party, once they see his poll numbers slip even farther than they've already slipped, the Republican Party is about self-preservation. They will move forward with trying to bring forth another candidate that can upseat him. Okay, this is strategy. This isn't, and it's time that we, as the progressive wing and people who are anti-establishment, we need to unify together, and we need to call it out for what it is. That all of these guys are dirty, Nancy Pelosi included. Okay, I don't know how many times I got to stress this. This woman, okay, when her seat was challenged, becoming the speaker, she and the establishment media put her on Time magazine. Establishment media tried to promote her as this ultra liberal. Okay, talked about how she's progressive. All of a sudden, she was a progressive, and then literally 2 months after she gained Speaker of the House, she no longer is progressive. In fact, she has done and said things and separated herself and those that she appointed on special counsels as separate from the progressive wing. I told you guys, this woman is a fucking parasite. She is just as evil as Trump, just as evil as the right wing party. She is Republican light. And everyone that she appointed at the head of those special counsels is a part of the problem. So just take a listen, because I'm done.
Speaking of Pelosi, perfect segue. Here she is.
From the Justice Department, he's said that if he had confidence that no crimes had been committed, he would have reported that. He made a number of other statements about a president not being able to be convicted of a crime while in office. Tell us, I know you've made one comment already this morning. What is your reaction to his statements this morning?
Thank you, Gloria, for your question and for the invitation to be here today. It's also wonderful to be at the Commonwealth Club with so many members of the club and concerned citizens, especially my family, my daughter Christine, her husband Peter, her father-in-law Phil Kaufman, and our grandson Octavio. And welcome. And understand our son Paul is here, Paul Jr. someplace. Paul, welcome. In any event, this is a family affair for us always. We always like to hear, whether we're present or viewing or listening, to what is of interest to our community. And I want to salute Gloria Duffy. She's just so remarkable, and we're so blessed to have her in the role that we have. While she mentioned what I was doing while they were having a late Central America-style dinner, I'll tell you what she was doing during the day. And this was so remarkable to all of us because it was we were there to see what was happening. Madeline Huss-Russell.
All right, so we've got an ear on this. The second she gets to the answer, we'll take it live. But to your point, you were saying it's a delicate balance between responding to her caucus.
Yes.
Because the cries have become louder and protecting the capital, our republic.
Yeah, I mean, in other words, she, I think, in that kind of more of a mother-hen role with regard to the caucus is going to say, like, you guys may want to do all this stuff, but I know that it may be bad for us politically. We may hand the presidency back over to him in 2020. All kind of bad stuff could happen. I don't want to take that kind of risk. But she has a responsibility to the republic, capital R, and whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, if you just erase all the names and just say you had an investigation.
Person X.
Yeah, President X. You had an investigation where all these facts came out, and that investigation, however, could not lead to any kind of conviction or accountability by definition. The rules say you can't. There's only now one body that can do an investigation with the gloves off.
Congress.
And that is Congress, and that is her. And so, she has a big challenge today, and it's in some ways it's no win because you got to sacrifice one for the other. But I don't think that, I think she's being painted into a corner by the president's actions, by Mueller's statement, and by her caucus, and we'll see how she handles it.
I want to come back to that, but your takeaway, Asha.
Three takeaways. Yeah, that I think Mueller was saying here.
It's been a big day.
First, he said, no hoax. He said, no coup. And then he said, you can impeach. And, the first two are just as important because they are directly contradicting the narrative that has been put out by the White House. And with the third one, I think it's...
Sorry. Let's try again.
Special Counsel, now former Special Counsel Mueller, and what he had to say, and as Gloria indicated, he did say, if he saw any evidence that the president was not was innocent, he would have let us know. If he had any evidence that the president was not guilty, he would have let us know, but he didn't. He didn't, and I think that was very, very important. While I have the deepest respect for him and thank him and his team for the presentation of facts that will further lead us to help us in the Congress and in the courts, this is a very valuable contribution. I am gravely disappointed in the Justice Department for their attitude, their misrepresentation of the Mueller report to begin with, their hiding behind something that you could never find in the Constitution, that the president is above the law, and their misrepresentations, even under oath, by the Attorney General to the Congress of the United States. So as we will continue on our path, which was led by our 6 chairmen who are magnificent, Adam Schiff, who's coming, Jerry Nadler, Judiciary, Elijah Cummings, Government Reform and Oversight, Maxine Waters, Financial Services, Richie Neal, the President's Taxes, Ways and Means, and Elliot Engel, Foreign Affairs, all have a piece of this. Last week we had 3 victories in the courts. One, Elijah Cummings' court won the president's accountant, that they have to share the information. 2, Maxine Waters, the Deutsche Bank decision, which is they have to share the information. And 3, not related to the Russia investigation or that, but related to other problems we have with the president and his view of the Constitution, is that the court said that he cannot use Defense Department funds to build a wall, to use that money to build a wall. We also had a victory in Adam Schiff's committee in that the Justice Department, under threat of subpoena and legal action, decided that they would give certain important documents to the committee, and that was a victory. That was 4 days, 4 decisions in 5 days, very important to advancing our getting the facts for the American people, getting the truth for the American people. Where they will lead us, we shall see. Nothing is off the table. But we do want to make such a compelling case, such an ironclad case, that even the Republican Senate, which at the time seems to be not an objective jury, will be convinced of the path that we have to take as a country.
So you mentioned the victories in court. You mentioned the various committees doing their investigations. Some in Congress want to go further. Representative Steve Cohen of Tennessee open a dedicated impeachment inquiry, Judiciary Committee potentially. Are you...
Judiciary Committee what?
Well, open a specific investigation of impeachment.
No, you mean he as a member of the
Yes.
committee? Because the committee has not taken that position.
So there are Democrats in Congress who want to go further than the existing committee investigations. How do you feel about that? Do you think there's a role for an additional dedicated investigation?
Well, let me just say that I'm very proud of our House Democrats. They've been very, shall we say, conscientious about how they've reached their decisions, and I think it's like 35 of them out of 238, or maybe it's 38 of them out of 238 have said that they wanted to be outspoken on impeachment, and many of them are reflecting their views as well as those of their constituents. Many constituents want to impeach the president, but we want to do what is right and what gets results. What gets results. And we have to remember, so yes, there are some, and the press makes more of a fuss about the 38 than the 200, who are over half of the Congress, after half of the Democrats in the House sit on one of these 6 committees. So they're all on a path of finding more information. Just to recall, Moni, if you were not born then, but during the what would not become impeachment, but the impeachment investigation of Richard Nixon, it took months and months of a Senate committee that was solely dedicated to researching impeachment before they then decided to have articles of impeachment come from the House, which were never executed because the House and Senate agreed. It was a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate. We have a different scenario now. So the case has to be very compelling to the American people. So we are legislating, and we wish the press would cover more of that. Thank you, Gloria, for pointing out some of the bills that we have passed and sent to the Senate about gun safety, women's rights, equal pay for equal work, Violence Against Women Act, gun safety, the list goes on, climate action now, the list goes on. But in any event, we're legislating, we're investigating, and we are litigating. And we're going to, as we go down the path, make a decision based on the strongest possible case to get the best results for the American people. And the action taken by the special counsel today, I commend him for the work that they did to present the facts. Now, we have to get it unredacted for the public, but nonetheless, and for the Congress, by the way. They'll say to me, we'll show you. And I say, that's not it. We want the American people to know. Well, you're going to show me, and then I'm bound by classified rules of the House not to tell anybody? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But in any event, I think that, everybody wants justice. Everybody wants the president to be held accountable in the most serious way, and everybody believes, I'm talking on the Democratic side, that no one is above the law, especially the President of the United States.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.